when you have a welfare system or a welfare-dependent society or a group of society, you obviously have also tried to kick out the father figures.
Yes. I've seen families, if you have a father in the home, life is not bad. I mean, not life is not bad, but life always has a silver lining.
Sure.
If you have a father at home...
And I would say, just for the feminists out there, that's not necessarily because men are better or anything,
no,
right?
But there is
a balance.
There is an energy for
with
father.
With a female and a male energy that a child needs both of those inputs.
Yes. This is what it does. For a father to be at home, and I'm saying this under the assumption that you have a level-headed, rational father. Right. I know for a fact there's lunatics out there that are fathers. I'm saying if you have a rational, level-headed, mature father, there is a certain energy that you cannot get anywhere that will coat your life and coat your decisions. For a son, a father's job is to, I believe this is my own personal thing, a father's job is to teach you how to live in this world and also how to calm your emotions or to keep control of your emotions so you don't make rash decisions or knee-jerk decisions. Not saying that's going to be 100%, but the majority of it needs to be rational decisions. And that works for a son, and it also works for a daughter. I've had the privilege of dealing with women that had fathers, and they are reasonable. I mean, there's a certain grace you give.
So I wonder how much of that goes back to just the simple fact that when children are growing up and they see two adults who oftentimes in marriages have complementary things going on, right? You might have a mother who's emotional and a father who's logical, or vice versa.
Yeah,
you could have a real logical woman and a kind of an emotional guy. But just the simple fact that child is seeing two different perspectives is also making that child, to some extent, a critical thinker.
Yes.
Which is, even if you had a mother who was very logical and not emotional at all, but that's the only influence you had as a child, you're missing something.
Yes, you're missing something. You're missing something. And not saying you can't have a great life, but I'm saying there's a certain energy with it. And it when you see it work in concert, it is a beautiful thing. Before my father died, it worked in concert.
Right.
He provided for us. My mother took what he brought, and she did what a woman does, have the ability and power to multiply it.
Make it even better.
Make it even better. Women are the only thing on this planet, females are the only thing on this planet that can take something and multiply it.
Well, frankly, yeah. In a lot of ways.
They can take what you get and multiply it and turn it in, and the level of return on it, the level of return on it can be, astronomical. We'll take Martin Luther King was this. It was put into his mother and she multiplied it to something exponential.
Yeah.
They have that ability. It's a beautiful thing, but you have to have both. You have to have both. And when you see that, it's missing something, especially for young black men. I'm not taking anything from single mothers, raised pretty much by a single mother. But there is something like, I wish I had my father. Just to talk to him, not because he's that wise, because the stories from my mama said he was a little, he did some stuff that, you're like, why you do that? But just to talk to him and see, hey, Dad, how do I deal with this situation? Or how do I deal with this? Or just to hang out. There's something missing, and it always will be missing. And black men and black boys and just males,
it's a fact.
Males in general going to gravitate.
Households are dramatically higher in the black community. That's just,
and they, to take that out of it with the welfare system, you can't tell me somebody was not freaking diabolical. Like, that's some quantum thinking. That's some stuff I would have never thought of. Let's take the daddies out. Yeah. I would have never thought that. I would have tried to put laws in front of them and make it so difficult and stuff. But I would have never thought of, let's take the daddies. Like, leave the mamas, but take the daddies.
At the same time, it could have just as easily been well-intentioned people thinking, oh, the easy thing is let's give them some money.
Yeah.
Without thinking then what's going to happen step 2 and 3. Like, it could be well-intentioned people playing checkers instead of chess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a quick fix. Yes. But I mean, we have now we seeing the fight, because when I was growing up, we was, rowdy hood kids. But I seen how these young men gravitated to certain men. They just, most of us didn't have daddies in the home, but a lot of us, they gravitated to certain men. They gravitate because that male energy is, you have to have, a male child has to have a male to affirm him in a non-sexual way. You have to have your daddy hug you and tell you, I love you, you're good, you're this, you're that, you're strong, you're da-da-da-da. That builds him up. He has to have that. If not, he's going to go seeking it.
All right, so that brings up a thought something I heard before, actually. It was an idea. Basically, there's an idea that when you have the welfare system, you disincentivize fathers. Now you have a lot of children, statistically 50% of them are male, being raised by mothers only. And there's an argument to be made, but some people would argue that females make emotional decisions more often than males.
Yes!
No. Where I'm going with this is, if that was true, and you have all these males whose sole caretaker is an emotional-led person, what are they developing into? They're developing into somebody who's going to be led by their emotions. Right? Not by their logic, not by cool level-headed thinking, but by bravado, by I've got to be the alpha male, I've got to, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that leads to
a
whole host of things. Is that
true?
So that's a theory that I've heard. Is that true from your perspective?
That theory has a lot of merit.
Okay. Tell me where it's right and wrong.
And it goes across the board. I'm going to use me as the test subject. Okay. I was raised by the quintessential strong black woman. She taught me how to live this life. She taught me how to maneuver and this and this. But she also emotional. And it's internalized. So stuff goes off knee-jerk reactions. Instead of, hey, stop, think. The things that I should fight against, I relinquish it.
Right.
And the things that I should just give up and not, I'm all over it. Give you an example. We would sit there and you've seen guys with their wife, their husband and wife have an argument. It happens. And instead of him, listening to the argument, it's tit for tat. It's one hurt to the next hurt, to the next hurt, to the next hurt. Instead of saying, hey, we have an argument, we have a situation, let's find a way to logically let's partner in this and find a way to do this, and then it's this and that and this and that. So it's like it's like the manhood is there, the male psyche is there, but it's cloaked in a female psyche. And the things that when you start dating and you start getting older, you start dating, you start to see you have to affirm them more. You have to attaboy them more. You have to, I know guys that sit there and if they see somebody across the room that looks at them more than one, they get jittery and ready to fight.
Yeah. So that's part of this. This theory.
What are you doing? Maybe he knows you from somewhere. Maybe he likes your shirt. I don't know.
Well, that's part of this theory that if your only parent, it tends to be the emotional one.
Yes.
Well, then you're more prone to fighting. You're more prone to anger. You're more prone to not being able to keep your emotions in check.
Yes.
Because emotions were always valued.
Yeah.
Outward emotions. You know what I mean? And so
let me say this. And when you have
and that's not to say that black boys are violent. Frankly, a little white boy that grows up with his mom in a trailer park could be just as violent because he can't control his emotions either.
Exactly. But this is what I'm saying. When you have that situation, most men that understand that, they will take that little boy and say, here, come with me. Settle down. Sure. And then once he's settled down, and the man's psyche breaks through. And he's like, now I can talk to you. Now you can tell me what's going on. We can fix it. Right. But if you left him in his natural state, he only knows fight, or he knows anger, or he knows It's something fight or flight. So it's this idea,
which is emotionally driven. That's empirically proven.
But
just through training. I mean, you can take people who have zero training and their fight or flight response is real strong.
Yeah.
You put them through a basic training.
Yeah. Because now they have weapons.
That.
Yeah. They have weapons now.
They now have a thought process to follow.
Yeah.
They have a logic tree to follow.
Yeah. And they are like, okay, it's going to come.
They can assess situations and then act instead of acting without assessing.
But when we talk like that, they talk like men don't have any emotions and we can't express them. But we can, but they have to be done properly.
Sure.
They have to be, it's a time to, how many times we see the movie where the general, the men are happy and exuberant because they want to battle and the general is like, settle down. Because the war's not over. When we get home, we gonna party like rock stars.
Right,
but right now, but yeah, that's what it is. It's like this. Let's use this for an example. Relationship breaks up, right? You have a mother raising a child. This is some old brain stuff. She knows that male child is gonna probably grow up to be bigger and stronger than her. How do you control something that's going to be bigger and stronger? You're going to control him mentally.
Mind effing.
She's going to do whatever it takes. When he's little, she's going to get her bluff in big time. And when he gets older, she's going to manipulate him. She's going to cry. She's going to do this. She's going to do what it takes to keep control over him. I love my mother dearly. But when my mother, because I was the oldest male in the house, when any woman in my family says anything, I don't hear what they said. I hear, Hal, fix this. If my niece calls and says, I really would like a pizza, I hear, Hal, will you buy me a pizza? My mom says, I would really like, some new blinds. Hal, put my blinds up. That's what I hear. Because it's just how it's been given to me. And it took me into my late 20s to break that idea and not, first of all, react emotionally. I would literally have to talk to myself and say, Hal, calm down. Hal, think this through. Hal, don't make this. Hal, don't do nothing because right now you ain't thinking straight no way. So don't do nothing. Just sit there. Just zone out. Do whatever it takes. Hal, when you get in this car, don't hit because for some reason that just drives women crazy. They get so scared. You get in an argument, you get in the car, you hit the gas, burn the tires. Oh my God, he's gonna crash. Hal, come out the driveway really slow. I would have to talk myself off the cliff because I didn't have a dad that, son, let me talk to you about this. Son, this is how this happens. Son, this is how this does that. I had to learn it, and I had to learn it late in the game and on the fly. So,
It's like you didn't get any basic training. You were just thrown in.
I was thrown into it.
Yeah.
I was thrown into it.
Yeah.
And it's just because I do believe they groom them. I don't know about white women, but I see that a lot of white women do it, or just women in general, but I really see black women do it. They take their little boys and they call them kings, which I understand the sentiment, but you dress them like the men that broke your heart. This kid got on $400 worth of clothes and he's 7. He's never done a hard day's work in his life. Probably never will. I get kids in here that's got $3,000 and $4,000, of shoes. They talk to their mother like that boyfriend used to talk to them or that husband used to talk to them. It's you're raising the next generation of your own family. And the next step, so you can't raise your son, and the worst thing you can do to a male child is to teach him eye for an eye, because potentially he's going to be a husband and the next generation of your family, and if he's that eye for an eye type guy, because I have to go down this road. I'm glad I have to go down this road.
Okay.
Earlier.
We got 5 minutes.
Okay. So. Because I was raised by my mother, right? She taught me how to live this world. She taught me this idea of fairness, because for this feminist movement wants to be fair and equal.
Okay.
So when I moved in with a girlfriend, rent time was due. I was like, hey, your $300 is due. I need that $300 to,
Yeah.
pay the rent. Your 300, my 300. We're fair, right? And I never could understand why she would get so mad at me every month.
Well, she's using an emotion.
Yeah, she's using an emotion, but the idea is that. But this is how I'm. If I had a man, he would have told me, "Hey, Hal, you getting all the benefits of a wife. You're gonna have to do the work of a husband."
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
And that's what she was saying to me, but not in those words. I didn't understand that. And I would get mad. And now the argument would start. Because I didn't have those man lessons. Because I learned from a woman. She taught me to be fair. She taught me this is how this works. You do your part, I do your part. But we know that life doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
And when you get older, you get a wife, you understand that in a family that it don't work that way. Not to say their point or their position is diminished. It's just certain things that you have to take up the mantle of if you're going to be a husband. And you cannot learn those from a wife. I mean, you cannot learn those from a woman. Cannot at all. So yes, that male energy needs to be. And they keep
So let's bring it home, bring it back to the black community.
Yeah.
That male influence is not there.
Yeah.
We have a pretty good idea why.
Yeah.
What do you do going forward? How can you fix that?
We change the narrative of what the generation is seeing, and take some of the good that we have and some of the good we have from the past, and we address the stuff that didn't work for us. Like, they're still showing dudes rapping with pants sagging and talking about how many women they done slept with. That is just fake bravado. Yeah. It's machismo.
And who's perpetuating that?
Who keeps buying this crap? Who thinks this is good and like this is the word you want to be?
Yeah.
Who keeps buying it?
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. If you notice, especially with,
how do you like put the brakes on and take a detour?
we stop buying into it, but it's almost impossible. We grew up in the 90s. We had Biggie and all them. They talked about the stuff too.
Yeah.
And then every generation's got it a little worse than the last generation. I mean, it went from, like, I didn't think I would live in a generation where they glamorize actually taking the drug they're selling. Biggie talked about selling it. The number one rule is don't get high on your own supply. The 10 crack commandments. Don't get high on your own supply. And now they're actually happy about taking the same drug that you're selling. It's unreasonable. Like, it goes back to that. It's not logical. It's unreasonable. It's for as far as black communities, black men, we have to extend ourselves more to take care of, and not saying black men are not, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we have to be more of an influence than what they're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
We have to be, and that's just men across the board, because we have a God inspired relationship. We have God leading us. We have some type of spirituality that weeds through the madness of man.
Some compass, yeah.
Some compass, thank you. Some compass that we can talk and we can reason as brothers.
Right.
And you have to get that, because if you change the men, you change the trajectory of your house, you change the trajectory of your family, your community, and everything. And I really do believe that's one of the biggest ones. Take the man out of the situation.
We're all out of whack. We're all out of balance.